The mic should be on. The sound should be on now. Hey guys, this is iDuckFilms, and I regret this already, but today is the 5th anniversary of this YouTube video called Paper Kirby Chapter 3 Part 1 Claymation. You can see here it's uploaded by Alex Kovas, published on January 28th, 2013. Today is January 28th, 2018, so that's exactly 5 years. Of course, it may already be the next day, January 29th, if you live in certain time zones, but I live in Pacific Coast time zone, so that's where I'm going by. In fact, shout out to the people who are watching this late at night at other time zones. I'm sorry I streamed so late for you guys. It's just I live at Pacific Coast time zone, and this is when I have time to stream. So I'm going to be analyzing this video shot for shot, this wonderful masterpiece, which you may not recognize at first. You might be confused by at first, but there's a certain scene in particular. You're going to recognize quite a bit of this because I use this a lot in my YouTube poops. This is the source where the who, what, no clip comes from. Like, it's right around here. So before we get into the video itself, I'm gonna show you the description because it's kind of hilarious to read 5 years later. Of course, the video is unlisted. I'm just here because I have the link. If you go in the description, you can click on it and look at the video from there, but it's kind of like a secret you keep between us, and I'll tell you why the video is unlisted in a little while. So the description starts, here it is, the newest chapter of my series Paper Kirby. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, this is an entire series of videos of animated YouTube videos. Animated, and I'm using the term as you'll see soon, I'm using the term animated very, very loosely. Animation can refer to a lot of things, but what he did was he did this sort of mashup series between, the whole concept was theoretically it's like Paper Mario with Kirby characters. And if you've played like a Paper Mario game, at least the first 3, Paper Mario 64, Thousand Year Door, Super Paper Mario, you notice that the game is divided up into these chapters. So this guy did the same thing. He divided Paper Kirby up into chapters. So there's like chapter 1, chapter 2, and this is chapter 3, part 1. New features include full backgrounds, smoother animation, and voice acting. Hope you guys like it. Now I'll get into more of this later, but I probably should have shown you what the rest of his YouTube channel looks like. You see, here's all the Paper Kirby, chapter 1, part 1, chapter 1, part 2, chapter 1, part 3, etc. Definitely on my top 10 anime of all time. I'm sorry. I'm trying to hold back my laughter here, because even now it's really hard to take this seriously like I'm trying to. But yeah, new features include full background, smoother animation, and voice acting. I'll get into all that later. Hope you guys like it. Well, I love this video, so that part is certainly true. Fun fact, while the intro might seem a bit bland, it was just a creative way of showing my use of backgrounds by using cardboard boxes or Sculpey cases, and thus recycling them instead of throwing them out. I'll explain that in a bit. I might in captions later, but it's not top priority. By the way, there were never any captions added, so good job. It makes iMovie work simpler if I do not add the captions like I did previously, so if anything, I'll add in the ones from YouTube. Now, he refers to iMovie. It's the software that he edits his videos in. It's like the default software that comes on Macs to edit videos. I actually use iMovie to edit most of my videos. So it's like the kind of, and if you look closely, it's like the kind of stuff that you'll notice, like you'll see the transitions and effects and stuff that are like default on iMovie. Anyways, the beginning might seem a bit confusing at first. Just hang in there and it should be clear in time. And I'm sorry if this part includes a bit too much chatter. You know, intros, evil scheme monologues, the usual. Anyway, I promise the next part won't be like that. Anyway, enjoy. Needless to say, spoilers by the way, there was never a Paper Kirby Chapter 3 Part 2. This is the latest episode, it's never been updated since. And the reason why I unlisted this particular episode was because he kind of lost motivation to make the series. Like, and at least I think that's what I remember it is. Like, he has a comment where he talks about why he didn't So Chapter 3 of Paper Kirby was left unfinished temporarily. Again, it's still unfinished because he kind of lost motivation to work on it. He eventually rebooted it. So I think there's little to no chance that he's going to go back and make a Chapter 3 Part 2. I made it unlisted so that people are not disappointed when they don't see any new episodes added for it. However, if you'd still like to see it, I've provided the link below. And he links to the video. So, by the way, if you want more explanation, I forgot to mention this too. There's so much to talk about. I have a video on my channel called The Brief History of Alex C0615 that talks about this entire Alex Kova's Alex C0615 channel because I find it absolutely fascinating. In fact, it's one of my favorite channels to watch. I still look for it every day, looking for a new video to see if he's uploaded a new video, even though he hasn't done so in over a year. And I think he's in college right now, trying to get a medical degree of some sort. Oh yeah. And big thanks to my voice actors, without whom this would not have been possible. So, I guess without further ado, let's get started with the freaking video. I'm gonna put this in full screen so you guys can all see this marvelous, marvelous thing in full screen. If I can get it to work. Excuse me, I might have to refresh this page. Now it should work. So there's the intro. This intro is only in this episode. And that's what he's talking about when he's saying he, it's basically showing off his use of backgrounds by, like he said, it was just a creative little way of showing his use of backgrounds by using cardboard boxes or Sculpey places and thus recycling instead of throwing them out. The way he animates is this very distinctive style I've never seen in another stop motion animator before or since, where you could kind of see from these thumbnails alone. But I'll bring up the very first episode. You can see he's shooting in front of a whiteboard. Like he's got one on some sort of a desk to be a kind of a floor and one leaning against the wall, and that's the background. That's about it. But here, he's getting some card. He still has the whiteboards, but he's covering them up with cardboard covered with clay to create fuller backgrounds. I mean, I'm just amazed that it took him. I'm amazed that it took him this long. But that's also a unique way because I guess in most claymation stop motion productions, even ones that are claymation, you rarely see backgrounds that are like full clay. Like I think if you watch like an Aardman Animations thing, for example, it's like all sorts of materials, but it isn't just clay. Now that I think about it, I think the Will Vinton Studios, the ones who ironically coins the term claymation, did use clay backgrounds in quite a few of their stuff, but I know that isn't always the case. But yeah, you can see the Chapter 3 Part 1 thing. That's a default iMovie title. And the Paper Kirby thing, it's, hang on, let me switch out for a second. So, wow, 2 people are actually watching. I just checked, and that's amazing that you guys are all watching this, even though it isn't Club Penguin or anything interesting. It's pretty much an inside joke that only I understand. Anyways, here we go. You can kind of see that the font, it's not, I guess it's not really a font, but it's still, the way that Paper Kirby is written here is reminiscent, sort of the Kirby's Epic Yarn logo, the one from the Kirby game, Kirby's Epic Yarn, which is another Nintendo and Craft Supplies game that you should totally check out. And you can see it's kind of written in a similar font. I keep wanting to say font, but it isn't a font. But it looks similar to the way that Epic Yarn is written here in the Kirby's Epic Yarn title. Like, you can see the similarities. So that's a nice little nod to Kirby lore. You've gotta love the lore. So you can kind of see Kirby's just kind of standing there while this Kingdom Hearts music plays. I think it's like Kingdom Hearts 3D, the 3D RES game Dream Drop Distance. I don't play a lot of Kingdom Hearts, but apparently I found out a few years ago that most of the music in this video is Kingdom Hearts music for some reason. Even though it doesn't have a lot to do with Kingdom Hearts, it does have some parallels, but I'll get into those later. There is so much to talk about when it comes to this video. But you can see Kirby standing there. The sky is clay gray for some reason. I guess it's cloudy or something. She's sitting on the grass, the lime green grass. I guess that's a lake or a pond. Yeah, I think that's a pond. You know, he's just standing there, chill. So that purple thing there, that is dangerous. We don't know what it is, but it's scary. It's dangerous. The panic music starts. I think it's like the panic music from Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, if I remember correctly. But it kind of comes out like a spiral. Just a mesh of all these purples and blacks. Like, it's not really blended, but it's kind of like mixed in together in a way. It's kind of a unique way of clay mixing that, you know, I feel like that, the whiteboard and the whiteboard backgrounds, those are kind of his signature. And the clay backgrounds in this video, that is kind of his signature style. Like, I like that this guy has a specific art style that, you know, Alex C0615, you could tell just by looking at a single frame of his videos, oh yeah, he made that. That's an Alex C0615 video. I don't know. I just love it when animators have a very specific art style that you immediately recognize as them. It happens in all sorts of animation, but especially in hand-drawn animation and a lesser-known CGI. But I think in stop motion it's a bit rarer, so it's a bit exciting. And there was something very, very important I forgot to mention. You know how the video here is titled Paper Kirby? And that's clay? It's flattened out clay. Yeah, if I didn't bring up you'd probably be confused if I didn't tell you earlier that this is supposed to be a Paper Mario thing. Because the flattened out clay and the video is called Paper Kirby. That's really a riddle for the ages. You know, it's like if you had a movie called Dogs Everywhere and then there isn't a single dog in the movie. It's just so baffling to me. I wish I had an explanation for why this was the case, but sadly I don't. I'm gonna continue now. So you can see Kirby here is like flapping his arm things in panic. It's like 2 frames that he alternates between. Smoother animation. Yeah, right. But I've got to take a look at his face. He's got that surprised face, the surprised look on his mouth. You know, the highlights on the cheeks really make it. And if you look closely, you can also see smudges of some of the clay that was on Kirby's feet during that first shot. As he moves it, it's clear that I think this guy shoots all of his animations chronologically, which actually isn't a very common thing in animation, to animate all the shots from start to finish, or really in any sort of filmmaking. It's not a very common thing to film all your scenes from in chronological order. You usually do like what's easiest for you, what works for that schedule in that day. But the interesting thing about the clay backgrounds, which I guess is kind of another signature of this guy's art style, is like if you look carefully, you'll see as like the videos progress, like the clay models get dirtier. You can see smudges from where all the characters were in the past scenes. There's a fingerprint. There's one of his fingerprints. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I can. But it it's that classic art style. Moving on. I think that's Kingdom Hearts music as well, but that shot you see there, it's a common type of POV shot that you've seen probably in a lot of movies, where it's like the character is waking up and you're looking at it from his point of view. I guess you're looking from Kirby's point of view here. And the way I'm guessing the way Alex did it when he animated this was, he put his hands over the camera lens and kind of created the effect through that. But, I can't confirm this. I did not make this video. That's one more thing I should point out. A lot of people seem to think I made this video. I did not. It belongs to Alex C0615, not me. I'm not Alex C0615. I'm not Alex Kovas. I'm just a fan of his videos. I've never even met the person in real life. Anyways, here you've got a nice field. Some gravel, dirt path of some sort. Don't know why I said gravel. That looks nothing like gravel. Dummy. Same gray background. But these two characters you see here are actually from another series of this guy's called Kirby's Amazing Adventure, where basically Kirby goes on an adventure with this blue Kirby and this green Kirby. They actually have different names, so they're just Kirby spelt in different ways. So I can't really do that kind of thing justice when I'm talking about it. Some things just work better in text. But yeah, I'm guessing this and Paper Kirby take place in the same universe. And this is like a flashback of some sorts. Actually, In the description of Paper Kirby Chapter 1, Part 1, it says, Kirby mysteriously wakes up in an entirely new paper dimension without any clue as he got there. Blah, 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 blah. So it's like Paper Kirby is about the adventures of Kirby in another dimension. And I guess this flashback is like a memory he had from the dimension he lives in. But I'm not sure. I'm not even fully sure if it's a flashback. I keep calling it a flashback. It might not even be a flashback. It might just be a dream sequence. Again, this is the latest episode. So I'm giving you all I know. The only person who knows 100% of where the plot was probably going to go was the creator of the video, AlexC0615. And even then, he may not have planned it through. He might have just been planning this as he was going along. But here you can kind of see Kirby's POV. He's grabbing the camera there. You can see his hands and feet. I think that music was from Kingdom Hearts as well. Anyways. So, Kirby's sleeping in this forest. He wakes up. I don't know how he got to the forest. Well, he was asleep for the whole time. I guess the portal took him there or something. But, there are trees here. Lots of trees, so you can tell it's a forest on a hill. The sky is red for some reason, like crimson red. I'm not sure where in the world you'd find, or when you'd find a sky that would be that shade of red. They probably shouldn't. It's probably one of those things that there's some things here that I can only explain because it's Paper Kirby. Like, the fact that it's Paper Kirby and it's clay, even though it's called Paper Kirby, that I can only say, well, it's Paper Kirby. I don't have an explanation. The flashback, oh, it's Paper Kirby. I don't have an explanation. The red sky, it's Paper Kirby. I don't have an explanation. So, anyways, let's get back to the video. This is the only episode. This is the first episode of Paper Kirby where he experiments with like this cute little speech bubble thing. You see it in a lot of Nintendo games like Paper Mario, where like a character like Mario will have like a question mark or an exclamation mark coming out of a stylized speech bubble. So I guess he tried to replicate that here. It's actually kind of cute. And we got the exclamation mark, whereas the question mark was white, was on speech bubble, had a white background, and it was light blue. There's a lot more contrast with the exclamation mark. You see, it's orange. The speech bubble is orange, and the exclamation mark is white. So, you've got polar opposite reactions. That's helped by what in filmmaking is often called the orange-blue contrast. In filmmaking, orange and blue are often said to be the most contrasting colors. So when someone wants to create contrasting colors in a movie poster or a movie shot or something, they'll use orange and blue to show that contrast. I mean, I'm not even sure if that was an intentional use of the orange-blue contrast, but, I'm over analyzing this. This is kind of a meme, man. This is kind of a meme. Don't take this too seriously. So, it's burning. The trees are burning while this dramatic Kingdom Hearts music plays. Like, it's, like, there's Like, I wasn't kidding when I said there was a ton of Kingdom Hearts music in this video. But seriously, like, these fires, the trees aren't really showing any damage besides those fires, and I'm assuming they're fires and not just splotches of orange, red, and yellow clay kind of smudged together. And we still have no explanation as to why the sky is freaking red. Maybe this is a Christmas forest and he wanted to break the Christmas colors here. I don't know. I've seen a lot of footage out there of real forest fires, and like the sky is usually orange or something, but never is it crimson red. Anyways. Now that little clay blob you saw come out there, it's going to be explained in the video a bit soon, but, you know, you put a lot of effort into the character design of that thing. Like, I'm pretty sure we all sculpted something very similar to that as one of the first things we sculpted when we were in kindergarten. So, A+ efforts on the character design there, Alexi0615. Exclamation mark again. And it just kind of wobbles like a punching bag. And it doesn't even go back up realistically. It just kind of goes down and up. Like you're kind of it would move a lot faster and more. It'd have a bit more of a spring to it if this animation tried to be somewhat a bit more realistic, for lack of a better term, instead of just looking like someone is doing a stretch or something. Like, I'm sorry, but that looks like a stretch. Let me show that to you again. Back, forth. It's more like someone doing push-ups. Not push-ups, pull-ups. With P class. So, we've got some quality animation here. Quality content. Hey! By the way, this line is really significant. A simple hey, because it is the first piece of voice-acted dialogue in the series. Now let me clarify that it's not because the series didn't have dialogue. The series did have dialogue before, but for a while, in the first few chapters, it's just subtitles. Like this, for example, you'd have music and sounds and stuff, but instead of voice acting, you'd have these subtitles show up on the screen like this one. That I guess you could just read to yourself, because I don't remember where exactly I found this out, but Alex Kovas doesn't like the sound of his own voice. In fact, in all these videos, you only hear his own voice once. And that was in a video that was deleted a few years back. It was only up for a month. So it's one of those things that, only the hardcore Alexi0615 fans know about. Like me. Anyways. But people kept pointing out in the YouTube comments of his videos, well, why do you have the subtitles? Why don't you just do voice acting as well? It's like, cause I don't like the sound of my voice. And then people started suggesting to him, well, why don't you hold auditions and like have voice actors from YouTube come and do voices for your videos. So after he finished chapter 2, he had these he had this video, a couple of videos up. They're now long deleted, and sadly I didn't save them. But it was like auditions for Paper Kirby chapter 3, and he gave descriptions of basically every character that appears in this episode. And I might get into a bit of trivia that was revealed in that video later. I can't really prove it to you because I don't have a copy of the videos that are like the calls for auditions, but it's very fascinating. Wow, it's already 8:28. But yo, what was I thinking? Oh yeah, various amateur YouTube voice actors auditioned, and they ended up doing all the wonderful, glorious voice acting you hear. Sadly, they aren't credited in the video, most of them. So I don't so I have no clue who actually voices the characters, which is really a shame cuz or if they're still on YouTube, because if I knew, I would love to contact them. Maybe 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 we'd talk about this. I don't know, but it's pretty. Case in point, this is a pretty significant moment.
Regular attacks won't work. Come quick.
So, Kirby goes behind the bushes after this complete stranger talks to him, which is something you should totally do in real life, kids. Especially when, it's like a guy with a deep voice of some sort who's in a white van where all the windows are covered up, and he asks you for candy inside. Like, he says there's candy inside the van, you just come on in. This video clearly has great social advice. Oh yeah, and one more thing too. That bush looked very small in the last few shots. Like barely a bit bigger than Furry, but now it's like 5 times as huge as he is. Like it's taking up the whole freaking background. Like this has no like what's the consistency here? What's going on here? See, the bush is. See, there's that small bush that's barely bigger than Kirby. There are these huge bushes, which are like practically the size of those trees in the last shot. So, good job. Oh, yeah, and it doesn't help that this is stop motion. Well, in other forms of animation, you could kind of just let this stuff slide. Because, a drawing, you're not expected to have a lot of consistency. But here you've got stop motion, you've got like physical objects you're dealing with. So, the audience is expected to have, some visual consistency, because even though they know it's not real, it's not live action, it's still real, recognizable objects. I'm getting sidetracked. Let's go.
Those shadows sure are handful.
Oh yeah, those blue things are called shadows. They're based on characters. They're based on a bunch of villains called Kingdom Hearts that are called the wait for it, shadows. So good job differentiating yourself from the thing in your video was inspired by / plagiarized from. Anyways.
Those shadows sure are handful. I'm Furry. Who are you?
So that's Furry. He has these antlers, this hair. He's brown. He's a freaking Kirby recolor. Most of the characters in Paper Kirby are Kirby recolors, by the way. That's a recurring trend that you'll see. And if you look closely, he has a tail too. But Furry is a character that was made up by actually in early drafts of the script for this video, at least according to the audition videos. He had tried to reuse fan characters that people had sent to him to use in the series for Chapter 2, which had this huge tournament arc thing with all these fan-made Kirby B colors. And first there was going to be this character called Bushkey, who lives in the grasslands. And he wanted the guy who created Bushkey, a guy named Plasma Kirby 123, who I think is now known as Smashing Renders on YouTube, to voice the character, but he was like, nah, I don't want to do this. So then he tried contacting another guy whose videos you might have seen, because he's another somewhat known Kirby animator called Shino Spike, to use his character called Spike in this place. And he asked him to voice him, but then he said, I'm not voicing that guy either. I'm not sure how many other options he went through, but eventually, he came up to this guy, Milch Valshin. I'm sure I mispronounced and butchered the name. But I know that's the person who created the character and does the voice. And asked him, if he could, since Milch Valshin was already a viewer of his videos, I think he wanted Furry to be in the Chapter 2 tournament arc, but couldn't make it in. So Alex contacted him and told him, hey, would you like to have Furry be in this episode and voice Furry? And he was like, sure. So, have Furry. That's the story of Furry. Now, Kirby's voice is sampled from various Kirby games and the Super Smash Bros. Games. I believe that particular "Hi" is from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. But yeah, Kirby doesn't actually speak in dialogue. He just uses voice clips from various games. So it's pretty straightforward. But I love but it results in awkward dialogue. Like this here is a perfect example. Furry asks him, I'm Furry, who are you? And Kirby's like, hi. So are we supposed to guess? So what's Furry supposed to do if he just gives him that if Kirby just gives him that response? Was Kirby even listening to what he was saying? Was his reading delayed? But it gets weirder. Check this out.
Handful. I'm Furry. Who are you? Kirby. Well,
He guesses Kirby's name on the first go, despite the fact that Kirby didn't tell him his name. He just said, "Hi." Like, that makes 0 sense. Like, if I were Furry, I just would have assumed A, he was stupid, B, he didn't listen to me, or 3, his name was literally Hi. Like, yo, this video is a work of art. That's all I can say about it.
Kirby, would you be willing to help me fight those shadows? I have a special weapon that can defeat those things, but as you can see, I don't have hands.
Obviously, that refers to the fact that he doesn't have hands. Pretty straightforward and simple. But
let me just fight real quick.
Yo, that's the world's awkwardest walk. By the way, I had no idea what he said in that last line. Even after I must have watched this video over 100 times. I don't know what he's saying. All I know is that it sounds like, "Let me just buy a tripwit." I have no idea what it is. What is a tripwit? It's incomprehensible. But then he does the world's most awkward walk where he like wiggles his antlers and like does this huge walk. Like, who the heck walks like that? It's weird and stupid. This whole video is stupid.
Here it is.
Yo, you just get a quality shot of Furry's butt. Like, I know the emphasis of the shot is supposed to be Kirby getting that mallet hammer thing that's all sparkly. But the first thing I noticed when I watched this was that shot, did I really need to see Furry's butt? Like, really?
Using this, the Mystic Mallet, you can easily fight those shadows. Let's try it out.
Yo, that's some natural conversation you have there. Using this, the Mystic Mallet, you can easily fight those shadows. Let's try it out. Like, even if in real life, if 2 people were placed in this situation, would anyone actually say that? This video's dialogue is just so unrealistic. Like, I know it isn't supposed to be even remotely realistic, and I'm supposed to have suspension of disbelief or whatever. But this is ridiculous. You know, he just owns all these guys in one shot. Good job. Yo, the hammer is... Yo, this Mystic Mallet is clearly OP if he just owns all these guys. But the line that Furry says just after this is amazing.
That went well.
Like, this guy... Like, Kirby just beats up all these things. They could barely... Like, you know, he didn't do a scratch of damage when it was just going barefoot. Barehanded. But... Or whatever. But when he has that mallet, he just owns them all. And all Furry has to say is, "That went well?" That is the underreaction of the century.
Oh, snap.
But the thing is, you know, all these shadows show up. Can you guess what they are going to do based on the evidence that we were just shown, where, he owns all the shadows with the hammer just then. That's right. They just kind of huddle into them, and they do absolutely nothing. Yo. That's quality. I just don't know what to say. This, there is so much in this video to question. Why else would I spend 40 minutes talking about, 2 minutes of this video? And I haven't even gotten to the best part yet. And then this thing comes down swishing. I don't even know how this is happening, but it somehow owns half the shadows. And that's all of that. Quality storytelling.
I thought you could use a little help.
Now I bet you guys are probably knowing where this is going. Hold on, because the famous scene is coming up in like a minute of this video, maybe like 20 minutes of analyzing or whatever, but Kirby can't take those shadows barehanded, but this chick can? What the heck? And Furry can handle them? That's top 10 anime fight scenes material right here.
That was close.
That wasn't even close. They didn't even do a scratch of damage. Those shadows didn't even do a scratch of damage on you, so you clearly have no idea what you're talking about.
Are you happy to see me again?
Oh yeah, this character appeared in chapter 2, and then kind of disappeared. That's why she says, "Are you happy to see me again?"
I'm sorry, but who are you? Oh,
I'm sure that was the question you guys were just asking, because I'm betting that a lot of you haven't even seen this video. Anyways.
Rosie, what's your name? I'm Rosie. What's your name? I'm Harry. Well, it's very nice to meet you. So, Kirby, what were those things? Those were shadows. They are dark creatures sent to destroy the forest, my home. Some evil wizard created them to cause mayhem.
So, all of this is surprisingly self-explanatory, but it just made me realize something that I forgot to bring up. When I think there's a scene in this video that is two people conversating, because they don't bother to make the mouths move, they just have them open during the entirety of someone talking. These conversation scenes have very few frames. This is am I watching an animation or am I watching a PowerPoint at this point? In the professional animation world, this stuff would be called lazy. I'm just saying.
That's terrible. But who would do such a thing?
Rosie's voice actor is awesome. And you're gonna see why very, very soon. I mean, "That's terrible" is a great line. But the best line that she has is coming up. So stay tuned.
Me.
So that character is Marks, a character from the game Kirby Superstar. By the way, spoilers for those who haven't played Kirby Superstar. You should turn off this video if you haven't played Kirby Superstar, because this video just assumes that you've played Kirby Superstar and casually gives you these spoilers. Namely, that Marks is trying to be a good guy who wants your help for most of the Milky Way wishes portion, which is like the last main portion you do in Kirby Superstar, but then he turns out to be the final boss. But here he's just kind of evil. I should also mention that in one of the audition videos, Alex mentioned they wanted whoever to do his voice to make his voice sound like Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb. So there is that. I hope. And I bet you aren't gonna get that image out of your head anytime soon. Best evil laugh ever.
Who's this guy?
Ah, Kirby, we meet again, but who is this young lass? Is this your girlfriend, perhaps?
Like, the voice actor who's voicing Marks, I love his performance as well, because it sounds like he's reading the script, and he's about to burst out, and he's trying to hold back his laughter every time he reads it, because he knows this video he knows that the script is a stinking pile of dung, and it's just too ridiculous to take seriously. Anyways.
What? No! What? No!
That's the famous scene. I use this scene. I really should have to explain this to you, because if you watch my YouTube poops, this particular scene, or this particular line, appears. It's practically a signature trait of my YTPs that this will show up at some point. But it's the best part of the video. The line delivery is perfect. It's like the perfect reaction to send to people. If you know. Like, it's total reaction meme gold. I just don't know what to say. It's amazing.
He's not. Ugh, what do you want?
Isn't it obvious?
No, it's not.
To exact my revenge on the world and using the anti-prognosticate.
By the way, it's never explained what the heck an anti-prognosticate is. So just kind of make that up, fill in the blanks.
I intend to wreak havoc by twisting all dimensions, creating a giant black hole, destroying the very fabric of the universe.
I should mention that it feels like the voice actor who's doing Marks is laughing while reading the script because he knows it's freaking ridiculous. Because, seriously, if what do you say about twisting all dimensions and destroying the very fabric of the universe, you know, like this Lich from Adventure Time plot, he'd also destroy himself. So that's an A+ villain plan. Anyways.
Well, I'd love to stay and chat, but I've got a universe to destroy. Ciao.
So, you know, Marks also knows a bit of Italian. I bet you didn't know that. You know, next time you play Kirby with your friends, tell them that Marks actually knows a bit of Italian. Because it's a fun fact at parties. Yo, default iWooey transition. That's amazing.
Oh, Kirby.
So that's Shadow Kirby. He's gonna explain who he is soon. But Shadow Kirby, I'm not sure if it's a coincidence, if it's just a coincidence, or if it's the same, or if it's a character that appeared But there's also a character in Kirby and the Amazing Mirror that appears that's also called Shadow Kirby, but oh yeah, and I forgot, he also appears in Kirby Fighters or something. But this is what Shadow Kirby looks like in the act in first in Kirby Fighters, but I'm trying to find an Amazing Mirror image. Oh yeah, here he is. But both of these look nothing like, just this faceless black blob. So I don't know what's going on here. Is he the same Shadow Kirby from Kirby and the Amazing Mirror or not? It's never explained. But there are so many questions here. That's the beauty of Paper Kirby.
I suppose.
By the way, long villain monologue coming, so grab the popcorn.
I suppose you must be wondering who I am. Well, Kirby, I am you.
Technically, I'm trying to think if he is or isn't Kirby, because would a shadow still be a person or not? Alex, you actually stumped me there.
I've hung over you as a shadow since the day you emerged into life.
So this guy goes on explaining that he's Kirby's shadow, but you can see his own shadow, and right there, if you look closely, right here, there's Kirby's shadow. So if Kirby's shadow is both here and over there, does that create some sort of a paradox? You were that, or someone failed to spot check, and by someone I mean Alex C0615 who animated this.
Your heart is pure and unconditionally loving, which is exactly why your shadow is the deepest black. Because you are truly evil.
Now, this is actually interesting. First of all, another thing I forgot to mention, there are so many things I've been forgetting to mention as I go through this video, but Shadow Kirby doesn't have a mouth, so, you don't even have to animate the face or the mouth. So that's awesome, which is awesome if, you're a lazy animator like this guy is. But also, the main point I was bringing up is right here you've actually got a clever idea that this Shadow Kirby thinks that what is evil is Kirby. And Kirby, he's what many people would call, he's the hero. Kirby's the hero to himself and many others. But to Shadow Kirby's the hero. Kirby's the villain. He's evil. And I find that interesting because usually, in a movie or something, they'll think, a lot of times a villain will kind of be proud, will either not realize, think about good or evil, or be like, oh, I'm so proud of being evil, let's kill the good guys. Where in a more realistic circumstance, they'd probably think they were the good guys and call who the movie actually establishes are the good guys evil. And I don't see that a lot, so props on Alex. This is actually a creative idea.
Do you defy me?
Kirby just gets kind of mad at Shadow Kirby because, he can't comprehend this.
Do you defy me? Do you hate me? Yes, Kirby. Use that anger. Let your inner darkness flow into your heart.
No, I don't know what that means either. Oh yeah, and he teleports. Should probably have mentioned that earlier.
Yes.
Don't know why he teleports if he's supposed to be Kirby's shadow, but Kirby gets mad because he can't beat Shadow Kirby.
Quick, over here.
I like how Kirby throws his hammer here. Like, it's someone rage quitting at a game and throwing the controller across the room. That's the thing I love about this video, is that it's freaking ridiculous. Like, it's impossible to take this video seriously, as I'm sure I've pointed out to you and have been talking to you about for the past hour.
Don't you see, Kirby? All the anger that is bottled up within you desires to be set free.
If you were here, Shadow Kirby, then hasn't all the anger already been set free? You can just go away now.
In this portal.
Oh yeah, Shadow Kirby can summon portals too. That's another thing that's brought out of nowhere.
The connection to another world.
Now, you can see on the portal, this is pretty significant, some nice grass, but you can see a Pokeball from Pokemon, Pichu, and Pikachu. Now, those are all Pokemon things. So clearly the other world that Shadow Kirby is referring to is the Pokemon world. And I'll talk about that a bit later.
Enter it, and see me again once you comprehend that all things are born evil in nature.
And then Shadow Kirby just teleports away. But hey, at least he was kind enough to leave Kirby's hammer so he could take it back. So I guess maybe he isn't all evil. Or there was a good idea for a plot that Alex forgot about.
Kirby?
Kirby just throws the hammer behind him. Probably put it up his butt or something.
What happened?
That was exactly the question I asked when I watched this video for the first time.
Kirby!
Top 10 saddest anime deaths. Alright, so it's not a death, but still.
Oh no, what are we gonna do? We have to do something. Wait, what are you?
See, Rosie just jumps into the portal. As they go in the portals, they all dissolve away, which is another excellent use of default iMovie effects.
Oh, what should I do? Do I go in? Oh, wait for me!
Like he ponders the decision for like 2 seconds before he just decides to go in. And no, we never find out what happens because like I said before, there's no chapter 3 part 2. It just ends here. There was supposed to be a chapter 3 part 2, but that never happened. Speaking of which, I need to get to the right frame, but for like a frame a couple frames in the video, you can see part 2 World of Pokemon. And that's one of the only things you know about the proposed part 2. The fact that Pikachu and Pichu might have been involved, which I think was mentioned in a couple of the audition videos. So we know at least that was planned because of all that stuff. But also, I'm trying to see if there's a video that goes on to chapter 3 part 1 plans. And I'm trying to see. Oh no, he took that video down. Never mind. There was a video. There was a small audition he did involving an original Pokemon trainer character. So the fact that presumably based on these little scraps of information we were given, I'll try to tell you how Chapter 3, Part 2 might have gone. Kirby, Rosie, Furry, all these guys go into the Pokemon world. And, they meet Pokemon trainers and stuff and play Pokemon. And along the way, they befriend a Pichu of some sort. I'm sorry I don't have any more details on that, but that's what we know. While I'm at it, I should probably talk about what else they planned for Chapter 3, Part 2, and just Chapter 3 in general. There was going to be a plot line. I don't really know much about the plot line besides the fact that it was mentioned a bit in one of the audition videos. But there was going to be a character named. There were going to be these characters called the Pixlets, who I presume are like the pixels in Super Paper Mario. These little collectible friends that provide assistance in battle of some sort. And one of them was this kind of square dude named Mix the Pixlets. And there's a plot line about him and his family. I forget. Most of my memory is hazy. But I do know that this character at one point seems to have existed. I wish I knew more about what was going to happen to Chapter 3, but, after a couple of years, nothing came out of it. Nothing has come out of it. It's been 5 years since the video was uploaded, and nothing has come out of it. He created there's this one here called Super Paper Kirby that would have been a continuation where that probably would have involved Kirby and Shadow Kirby and their story. But all that exists of Super Paper Kirby that I know exists, the very little I know of it is like a fight scene, which you can see here on my screen. So, I think, and that was all that was made. And then he kind of forgot about that stuff. And then a year ago, he rebooted it, which is why I know there's never going to be a Chapter 3 Part 2. I did a series of these ones are called Paper Kirby Adventure, and I'm not going to show you them because, I've actually done these videos where I reacted to all 3 of the episodes he uploaded, and it's like all from a completely blank slate. Notably, there's no other Kirby OCs, Furry, Rosie, etc. aren't in there. It's just Kirby and a bunch of Mario characters. And it's a complete reboot done from scratch. If you want more about it, I have, you can look at them up on his channel like I have. Or I have videos that I did a series of reaction videos where I reacted to all the videos. And Alex actually liked my reaction videos to to the Paper Kirby Adventure series. He even has some interesting insight onto that series if you look at the comments in my reaction videos. So it's very cool. I'm sorry I'm stumbling here, but I wasn't sure how much I'd have to say about this, but I think I'm done here. I was thinking of doing Club Penguin at some point, but I'm getting kind of tired and sleepy. So I'm thinking I'm just going to end the stream here. Bye, guys. And I'll be back to streaming Club Penguin Rewritten tomorrow.